My lord, dispatch this force to Ravenhill. The dwarves are about to be overrun. Thorin must be warned.
By all means, warn him. I've spent enough elvish blood in defense of this accursed land. No more.
Sandrill!
I'll go.
Don't be ridiculous. You'll never make it.
Why not?
Because they will see you coming and kill you.
No, they won't. They won't see me.
It's out of the question. I won't allow it.
I'm not asking you to allow it, Gandalf.
And that was a clip from the new Hobbit movie, which will really barely do justice to the gargantuan epic, which is The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies. Martin Freeman is Bilbo. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Simon.
How are you?
I'm pretty well, thanks. I'm holding up okay. I'm
Are you?
in the midst of doing a lot of talking about this lovely film.
How long ago did you actually wrap and stop being Bilbo completely?
1989.
Right, okay, so you were...
So about a year and a half ago.
So it must feel... I mean, I know this is the way the whole thing is filmed and structured, but it must feel very strange to be, right now, all that stuff, that big battle at the end, now you can actually get to see it. Must seem really strange.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we only really see it very short time before the rest of the world does, because Peter Jackson likes to edit and tinker and perfect right up until the 11th hour. So just before you've seen it, we've seen it. So I'm still kind of digesting it as we speak, really. I think it's a fab old film, and I hope it's a fitting and satisfying end for people who have liked the other two.
Well, there's some bits that you were thinking, I wonder how that's going to work out. Oh, no, that's okay. I mean, were there some bits that you were nervous about?
I mean, I think you very quickly you kind of get used to the fact that any doubts you may have about this will never work, will it? you realise, the
Peter
process
Jackson.
and Peter's work kind of it does prove you wrong. I mean, the first time in the first movie, we were doing a lot of scale, issues with us lot and Gandalf. And there was just a process, how we made it, that I thought, this is never going to work. These people are mad. This is not going to work. And then I saw it was sort of rendered back, and it worked fantastically. And so after that, I learned to sort of just trust, really.
Just explain a little bit about Bilbo's journey, because the movie starts immediately. The last movie is finished. It is sort of should be seen all as one lovely thing, really. But just remind us where Bilbo is in his journey here.
Well, I mean, we left him in the last one seeing Smaug the dragon about to decimate Lake Town, and we joined them just as Smaug is decimating Lake Town and bringing havoc and horror to the good people of Lake Town. And we, as a band of dwarves and a hobbit, are looking on powerless and very sad and frightened.
You do a lot of looking on in a powerless way in this movie.
Yeah, man. Well, blame Tolkien. If it were up to me, I'd get my sleeves rolled up straight away, Simon.
But it was, it's a terrific end, actually. And just a word before we talk about the epic stuff, and the word gargantuan is the only word that I can think of to apply to the last hour. How has Bilbo changed? Because obviously you were filming this all in kind of much more tightly than we've seen it, because it's been very spread out. But how has he changed from your point of view?
Well, I mean, in the doing of it, it's very incremental changes, because obviously he's the same character from beginning to end. He's still recognisably Bilbo Baggins. He suddenly doesn't turn into, Rocky or whatever, but he just has a bit more chutzpah about him, I suppose. He's a bit braver. He's a lot more loyal because these people have actually become his friends. So he's got more at stake. He's got more to fight for, his comrades. And the danger has got really, really imminent and very present danger in this movie. And what he really wants is to get home in one piece. I think as far as he's gone away on his adventures to see the world and to meet all these other races and species, it's clarified for him how much home means to him. And so that's his sort of overreaching desire, is to get home in one piece, and also to avert a kind of apocalyptic war, which he doesn't quite manage.
No, he doesn't quite manage.
The clue is in the title.
Yeah, that's right. He's been changed presumably by being in possession. Let's not forget, you've got the ring.
Yes, he has. I suppose,
kind of forgot that.
Yeah, I know. I guess you forget it because it's kind of... Well, because Sauron isn't looking for the ring, so it's not giving him those kind of Frodo heebie-jeebies that we got with Elijah, where Elijah's head would get kind of bent round by the power of Sauron wanting to bring the ring back. You can sometimes forget it because Bilbo is reasonably incorruptible. And it doesn't particularly have that mad, greedy effect on Bilbo, you know, the sort of lust for power on Bilbo. You get tiny, tiny glimpses of it, but what you mainly get is that Peter and I established that putting on the ring and getting into Ring World, although it gives you invisibility, which is a huge advantage, the downside is it's a really unpleasant place to be. It's a very unpleasant experience being in Ring World, because you go all trippy and, you know, feel sick. So he wants to put it on as little as possible, and he only puts it on in life and death situations.
Speaking of being all trippy,
Yeah.
can you explain what on earth is wrong with Dwarf King Thorin? Because he does appear to be spaced out for most of the movie.
He's got kind of gold sickness. That they've returned to Erebor, the Dwarven kingdom. They've got rid of they've got rid of Smaug. Smaug's flown off, leaving the gold and the treasure unattended. And while Smaug is doing what he's doing, Thorin Oakenshield, Richard Armitage, has got completely lustful over all the treasure there, and that's changed his personality, much to Bilbo and the rest of the dwarves' concern, because he stopped being a kind of noble leader of men and turned into a completely selfish git.
Yes, and Bilbo is always our hero, but it sort of become Richard Armitage's picture, doesn't it? By the end,
Don't rub it in.
well, only a little bit.
Why are you rubbing it in,
Well,
though, Simon?
He has that big.
Is it called the Thorin? No, it's not. It's called. No, I think
you're
it's
looking
sort of.
on.
No, it doesn't. I'm looking on forlornly.
Yeah.
From about a mile away. No. I've said to Richard, I'm very happy to say this is kind of more Richard's film really than the others, because it's definitely the climax for Thorin's story, and he's a big character in Tolkien, and he's a very big character in these films.
Obviously, there is a battle of the Five Armies. As you said, the clue is in the title. I think the genius of the movie is the fact that it is this extraordinary battle, which lasts for half of the film. Between, I mean, it says Five Armies, but I think there are dwarves, elves, orcs, humans, trolls, goblins, eagles, crazy bats, weird earthworms that do all kinds of strange stuff.
I know.
And yet the story is clear. The armies are clear. You kind of still know who's fighting. It's not like robots hitting robots. We know who's hitting who and why.
Absolutely. I think the why is the very important bit, isn't it? I think, you know what's at stake, and I think that's one of Peter's great skills as a filmmaker, is that he has the talent and the toys, the digital toys to make a really, really impressively choreographed battle, and he does those, I think, as well as anybody else I've seen. But he also has the taste to cut back to the human cost of those things. He's always very good at that. So it's never just a big sort of boys' war film. It always comes back to character, and it always comes back to what the cost of that is, or someone's vulnerability, or someone's fear that prevents it just from being, guns and toys,
And just still on the guns and toys, I do think that the battle sequences are beautiful, actually. And
they are.
There's one particular scene, and a bunch of elf warriors leap over the backs of some dwarves and straight into, like, headlong into a battle with the orcs.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's just stunning.
And that, with Howard Shore's score as well, just doing the right thing at the right time with that. It's there are some things in these films that even though you're in them, one is in them, you kind of look at them and think, that's a moment that will outlive me by a long way. And I think it's moments like that that I think that will be around for a long time.
That and the big guy with a brick head who
who headbutts walls.
Well, just the one, actually, by the look of it. And then
exactly, because he conks out.
But in general, orcs, for all their scariness, they're quite easy to kill, aren't they? And once you knock them over, they don't usually get up. Yeah,
but it's the knocking them over, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That's how do you knock them over?
That's true.
That's difficult when you've only got little arrows or a little sword.
And an inspirational film for all 92-year-olds. Go and see Christopher Lee kick some serious bottom there.
And the scary thing, the terrifying thing, is he had no stunt double, no pitch double. That was all him. Every single moment of that was Christopher Lee, and because not many people know he's actually I think he's a black belt actually in jiu-jitsu, and he's also
You're just making
a
stuff up
capoeira
now.
master in a way. But isn't that the beauty of storytelling?
Yes, and you continue the story. I think it's Time Out magazine in London who they talk about Peter Jackson's talent for massive scale mayhem, and I think that's the best way of describing what happens in the last hour of this movie. Were you sad to leave after? I mean, I know this is like a year and a half ago, but did you get sad or emotional?
I did. I mean, on the very last day of shooting, I shed a little tear because you were sort of saying goodbye. You realised this was goodbye. You know, we'd done kind of 3 or 4 blocks of shooting, and this was the final moment of saying goodbye to people who had been quite a large part of your life for 2.5 years. You know, which is a big chunk of anybody's life, and certainly for an actor's job, that's a long time. So yeah, that was quite emotional. But no, to be honest, the film coming out it's nice seeing the folks again. You know, the cast and crew. And you do everything you would do it with an end to it being finite and with an end to it coming out. And now I'm just excited about people seeing it, and I hope they like it.
And for everyone else, for this whole epic, of course, it's been 6 films and 13 years and 1,031 minutes, and it's a fantastic place to finish it. What do we see you next in, Martin?
I think you see me next in something called The Eichmann Show on BBC One in January on Holocaust Memorial Day, which is about the televising of the trial of Adolf Eichmann in Jerusalem.
And you play the TV producer, I think. Yeah.
I do. I play a man called Milton Fruchtman, who I had to take the role because it's so similar to the name Martin Freeman.
Is there any finer reason to take a role?
No.
Martin, thank you very much indeed. We appreciate your time as ever. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.